Hi guys, okay, today I'm just going to be talking a little bit about what I'm planning on doing for my cats. So, they get wet food, they get dry food, and then they get treats. And they will eat the dried fish that I make, which is a good sign. Really, I mean, you should be starting cats when they're kittens, you know, because they end up getting very picky as they get older. But so this is an experiment that I'm going to try to do for the benefit of the cats, especially my mother's cat. Well, they're both her cats, but the black one, he's always had problems with his weight, and he's more accepting of food than the other guy. But I'm concerned for him. He's been pretty depressed, so I'm going to do it obviously slowly. But I just wanted to talk about the cat foods. Like, this dry stuff was the best stuff that I could find. It has no corn. It has, you know, all natural ingredients. Nothing that I would say is offensive for a cat. You know, like wheat gluten and all this other crap that they like to put in corn. This has pretty good ingredients. Now, they also eat, like, this stuff, Fancy Feast. This, actually, some of the Fancy Feast has wheat gluten in it. Some of the Fancy Feast has corn in it. I didn't notice that before. And that's what all the recalls were a few years ago, was the wheat gluten. And cats shouldn't be eating corn, nor should dogs. Dogs get a lot of allergies and stuff, reactions to corn. And I would imagine cats do too. Most cats end up with kidney failure, or they become diabetic because of the food they're eating. I mean, they're supposed to eat meat. They're not supposed to eat dry food, and probably raw meat is the best for them. And they also add coloring into this, which is kind of weird. So, okay, so they've got this. They also eat this. The reason for this is because, I mean, it's convenient. It's an okay price, like, you know, compared to some of the, I guess, organic stuff, which they don't even like. Like a tin is double for the organic. It's either double or even more. A can like this goes from 50 cents up to 75. And that's just one little can. You could get a real piece of chicken for the same price, which would be better for them. And so I'm thinking, if I'm cooking for the dogs, I might as well do it for the cats as well, if they'll accept it. I'm going to start off slow. And the Friskies has the exact same ingredients as the Fancy Feast. Then there's this stuff. This is like crack for cats. They love this stuff. They will come running, just like on the commercials. You know, it's true. The cats will do anything for these treats, which is weird. There is corn in here. There's sugar, salt, fat. You know, I mean, the corn is what bugs me. And, you know, sugar and salt and all that. But they do love this stuff. So what I'm going to start by doing is by adding just stock to their food. So I'm just going to show you something. So this is the cat food. Now, what I've noticed, and I've noticed this for years, and what all of the cats do, is they will drink or lick up all of the juice from the canned food, and a lot of times they leave behind the chunks. I'm not really sure why. It's probably processed, maybe it has no flavor, who knows. But they take up the juice, and a lot of times they don't eat the actual supposed meat. So what I'm going to do is a chicken stock that I made yesterday. I'm going to just add it in here and see what happens, see if they accept it. So here's the stock from yesterday. So I'll just scoop up a little bit and put it in their food. Thought I was filming. Okay, so I've basically put 1 scoop of the broth in there. I'll just give that a stir and give it to them and see what happens. Oh, he likes it. It's a good sign. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm scooping out the bones, taking the meat off, and putting it in here. And this meat I'm going to put a little bit in with the normal cat food to slowly switch them off of it. I'll just put in a very small amount at first because I am adding in the stock. I'm going to strain the stock to make sure there's no bones, and then I'll keep that in a jar in the refrigerator. Both cats and dogs, generally they don't like stuff straight out of the fridge, so it's best to put it out on the counter and let it get to room temperature if you're going to give it to them. And in the winter, you could even warm it a little bit, well, for the dogs anyways. My dogs like the food when it's a little bit warmed up. But there's a lot of meat coming off these bones, you wouldn't think. So, pretty happy about that. Another trick you can do if your eventual plan or goal is to get the animals to eat raw and they're not used to it, once you've switched them over to the real food, the real meat, or I would give it a while, you shouldn't do it quickly, but then you can add in a little bit of raw and then slowly transition them into the raw that way as well. And raw is really good for homesteaders because you don't need to cook it, and it really is the natural way that cats and dogs should be taking their meat anyways. So I got a nice 2-liter jar of chicken stock, and there's probably at least another 2 liters in there. So I'm going to save 1 liter to mix in with the cat food, and the other liter I'm going to make rice for the dogs.